football game, it's an interesting one. Browns are up 9-0. Baker Mayfield looks horrible. And I got some thoughts about that. First of all, let's talk about why Baker doesn't look so good. He has slow receivers. Look, nobody ever said that Higgins and Willies and whoever he's throwing to out there, Demetrius Harris and Pharaoh Brown, there's no speed. The Tampa Bay secondary is all over these guys. There isn't separation. In order to make throws, he's forced to force the ball into such a narrow window, and we're not running the football at all. This is what we have right now. No OBJ, no Callaway, no Landry. So our top three receivers, basically, as far as speed and pattern running ability, are not out there. And Baker's throwing to Willies and Strong. Strong has looked horrible, and he'd been doing so well. Not having a good game. Demetrius Harris, another holding penalty, another drop pass in the end zone. Higgins, a really hard catch that you can't really call a drop. And so was Demetrius Harris. It was tough. So offensively, not running the football. No Nick Chubb. We're seeing Kareem Hunt, and we're seeing him being smothered. The offensive line is pass blocking okay for Baker, but they have gotten in his face a number of times. Baker is throwing the ball high. There seem to be a lot of sailing footballs out there. Now, I'm pointing out the bad things first. There are lots of good things going on the field, too. And it's all on the defensive side of the ball. I was a little concerned that Murray looked lost in the beginning of the game. But Olivier Vernon, holy shit. Talk about living in the backfield. Oh, my God. He got to know Jameis Winston up close and personal. A lot of opportunities for our defensive front to show off. And Tampa Bay was not able to successfully run the football, and penalties put them into second and third and longs, and there was no prayer. No chance whatsoever. He had no time to throw the ball. He was pressured constantly throughout the first half of this football game. And a number of people flashed for me. Schobert's had an outstanding half of football, and that's something that we were critical of on the show, but extremely good. Vernon, as mentioned before, Chris Smith flashing. The defensive line in general, Ogunjobi was pushing them back. Denzel Ward, the first play of the game, good, very good one-on-one coverage. But what I'm noticing about the Browns' offense, as interesting as it was last year, looks positively predictable this year, and that's probably because we're not showing any wrinkles off. But empty backfield sets, really not trying to establish a running game and trying to throw the ball back to slow people with no separation, that's a difficult thing. Bronk is saying we're the better team, and here's Wable. No, Joseph is not gone. And let me tell you something. If that was the case, it would be bye-bye Colquitt, because Gillum kicked every punt in the first half. Don't think you know, because you don't know. And I think Austin Siebert is just kicking for another team. I would not at all be surprised if idiot Greg Joseph keeps his job. I know it sounds ridiculous, but hopefully the fifth-round pick will justify itself. He has come up large today, a wonderful 54-yard field goal with plenty of legs. So, and I think, Philip, you're right. Beckham will open the field up, and I'm pointing out, and this is the asterisk in all of this, Baker is throwing into very tight coverage. These men are covered. And the thing that's interesting is it's hard to scheme anything with slow receivers. Higgins is a great third option, fourth option, but if he can't be your go-to guy, the secondary is just hanging all over the receivers. And I think it's frustrating for Baker, who's trying to fit the ball into very narrow areas. And then, let's say it, Willie's, these guys are not exactly the hands team. You know what I mean? Demetrius Harris, not so good. Penalties have been more, Ron, against Tampa Bay than against Cleveland. And, I'll say something else. Dearness Johnson, he returns punts far better than Dontre Hilliard. Far better. And, I don't know. He didn't get any runs from the line of scrimmage. I hope to see more of him in the second half from the line of scrimmage. But I'm starting to like him more than I like Hilliard. I want to see if he can catch the ball out of the backfield. But on punt returns, he's definitive. Unlike Jabril Peppers, he's not fair catching the ball. He makes that first step and burst. He has made a few people miss. He has flashed as a punt returner for me today, and I think that's really good. And that's right, Mr. Fergus. The receivers right now aren't helping Baker, but they're not open. I guess got to be honest with you. The receivers are simply not open. And yeah, and correct. A lot of second stringers out there, Wable. I mean, they're getting a look at a lot of different people. And Baker wanted to play, so Baker's gotten his reps in. And Frank V, there's a real point of view. He's an overrated pussy. Well, you know something? So's your wife. All right. Derek is in here saying Baker throwing high out of nowhere. Sometimes quarterbacks, the ball sails out of their hands and the release point isn't real good. This happens, all right? And you're right, Philip, that is. Separation is everything for wide receivers, and it has to do not only with speed, but also with the ability to run certain patterns, and we're not really getting it done out there. Here we go. Here's one of our great trolls. I'm friends with one of Odell's old teammates and a former gay lover of my brother. And he said, thanks so much for that, Frank. I do appreciate it. Yeah, Vernon, whoa. God, he mounted Jameis Winston up on the one stunt. It was like, no. Okay, like in fucking 3D, Yeah, Jose, Willie's did drop like 3 balls. Nobody is really standing out for that extra wide receiver position. And DJ Montgomery with his hamstring is probably about ready to piss himself. This I really like, too. You're on crack. No, Derek, you're on crack. The fact of the matter is that Siebert's getting his first opportunity to kick in the preseason. If you actually watch these games, you'd realize these are like his first field goal attempts. These were his second field goal attempts in the entire preseason. Up to this point, Joseph has gotten the vast majority of opportunities. So he's making good. I hope we have ourselves a kicker. I can't wait, Philip. Rico Gathers. It sounds like somebody from Miami Vice. And I do believe, Mark Ross, you are correct. I think that it's just a wide open back, no blockers in the backfield, and it's like just 5 wide and doing whatever. I don't see anything really original about this. It does not look like the usual Freddie Kitchens offense, that will say. And this is another good point. We have put pressure under the Tampa punter, and I think that it's resulted in some shorter, more returnable kicks for Dearness Johnson, which is good. I think we all know how Stanton's going to do in the second half. Throw the ball to Dearness Johnson. Let's see if he can catch it out of the backfield. That's about what that is. Jake, Winston did throw a few ducks, and he was running for his life, quite honestly. And I saw something that I didn't like in Tampa Bay, and that was Byron Leftwich kind of not having a very friendly conversation with Jameis Winston. That makes me think when a new offensive coordinator and his quarterback are not communicating well, trouble lies ahead. That is my entire line of thinking with that. Yeah, Wavell. Myles Garrett, not even in the game, except maybe the first one or two plays. After that, he's out of the game. And we still generated that kind of a pass rush. We haven't had that kind of pressure since God knows when. Alec is saying, was Baker really that bad? No, he was not his usual self, but the guys weren't open either. Yeah, and that's exactly right. Again, I only saw him on one play myself in the very beginning of the game. Hey, Tony, how you doing? Tony the Calf. If you're drafting a kicker in the 5th round and not keeping him, what in the fuck are we doing here? You're right. You're really right about that. I don't understand why he didn't get any opportunities up to this point. But he's not been outstanding in camp at all. And the third quarter is starting. I'm going to be back here after the game on the Browns post-game show. How about you? Let's go. Drew Stanton and the second and third stringers. Let's bring it home. And until after the game, I'll see you on the post-game show. Bye-bye.